That could have been so bad. Hello, welcome back, Bookish Besties, to another video. As you can see by today's title, we are going to talk about fantasy romance series. I have about 9 series here, if I remember correctly. And these are just some of the ones that I absolutely love that stick up here in my brain forever. I try to make sure I get only series where I have at least read more than just the first book of said series. So you won't see any series that I may have only read the first book of. These are all series where I either have read the whole series, the first and second book in series, the first, second, third, fourth, whatever it may be in the series. These are all ones that I currently am in the middle of or have already finished. Um, so let's get right to it because there's a lot I could say about all of these. So we're just gonna start. I don't even know where to start. I have 2 piles, and I don't even know which one to start with. The first book series I have for you is the Kingdom of Lies series by Stacia Stark. I'm currently waiting on my Libby haul to come in for the third book for the audiobook, and as soon as it does, I will be diving in, even if I don't even have book 3 on like the physical book, because I'm way too excited to get to it. In this world, soon after you're born, you give your powers to the gods to protect the human lands, and at the age of 25, you are given a part of these powers back to you. Um, You are given these powers back to you, but if they discover that you have kept your powers this whole time, you are pretty much sentenced to death and taken to the capital where you will await your death. Um, in this world, you are following Priska. And Priska is actually one of those people who have kept her powers since she was a baby, and they are considered corrupted. One day, she is helping somebody out in her village when her powers are discovered, and she has to go on the run. Now, Priska has been dreaming about this green-eyed male for a few months now, and as she's on the run, she just so happens to meet this green-eyed mercenary who basically leaves her for dead for the first time they meet. Um, and so after that, she tries to steal one of their horses, and it ends up in them discovering her powers. And so this group of mercenaries, including this green-eyed male she's been dreaming about, decide that they're going to use her to help them while also helping her get away from her village and helping her escape. But things took a turn, and you find out some things, and Priska learns some things, and she decides that she is ready to fight for everybody in this kingdom. And this series is so good. It's not the most like well written series, and I can see a little bit of the plot holes in it, but I absolutely enjoy it. It is very fast paced. It's very easy to just listen to, and you know what's happening as you're listening to it. Priska is such a well-rounded character that I love, and I love seeing her character go from book 1 to book 2, and I can't wait to see it even in book 3. Um, and I love our male love interest, Lorian. He is he has a nickname for the main character that I don't necessarily love, but I also don't hate it. Like I found it mid, but like it's in a way it fits her. Um, like I said, Stacia Stark knows how to get you with these. She leaves these books on cliffhangers, making you want to pick up the next book in a series. But I'm not a series binger, so I actually have to torture myself with cliffhangers and wait until I'm in the mood for the next one to read the next one. So I definitely do recommend this if you're looking for a quick, easy reads. It don't seem like they would be because these are over 500 pages both, but they are quick and easy to get through. As long as you're tuned in and as long as you are looking for a good, fun time. The next series I have for you is one that I feel like has been talked about over and over and over again, but I'm going to still recommend it to you because I absolutely love this trilogy and the world that Leigh Bardugo has written in it. And that is the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I don't currently own the physical book of the third one, but I will pretty soon here. Um, but the Shadow and Bone trilogy, in the trilogy, you are following Olenna Starkov, who is an orphan, and she's a soldier who knows that she may not make it across her first trek across the Shadowfold, which is this big part of the land that's covered in darkness, which has deadly creatures in it. Um, so when her and her regiment are crossing the fold, they get attacked, and Olenna releases this power that she never knew she had, but it is a power that the Darkling has been looking for centuries now. Um, and so she is thrown into all of these politics and this intrigue. Um, as she trains with the Grisha, which is basically the magical army in this world, um, and the Darkling, who thinks that she can summon a force that can destroy the Shadowfold. Um, but things start to come to light, and it makes Elena decide whether she is ready to fight this war or she. How do I explain this? Things come to light, and Elena has to decide whether she's ready to fight this war or not. Even if she's not, she's going to be fighting it anyways. And this trilogy is amazing. I love, like I said, I love the world Leigh Bardugo has written in this. She has written many books in this world, but the main books in this world, there are 7 of them, and I've nearly completed the whole series. And I love the way Leigh Bardugo has written this. It is so well written. It is so enjoyable. Elena Starkov is very much a relatable character for someone who is like 16, 17 to be thrown into this new world when she has known this one small world as an orphan and a soldier, to be thrown into these politics and this high, fast paced world that she's not used to. And I love that for her. I love seeing her character go through her learning that it takes a lot to be able to go through what she goes through, and she gets through it. And she comes out with some scars, but she goes through it. And I definitely recommend this series. My favorite book in the series is probably Shadow and Bone, and then Ruin and Rising, and then Teen Storm is my last. Ruin and Rising and Shadow and Bone kind of flip flop back and forth as my favorite, just because I love them both so much. I love the beginning of this, and I love the ending to the series. But Teen Storm is kind of mid for me. But besides that, Limo Diggo did a damn thing with this one, and I definitely need to go back and start rereading these pretty soon here because I miss Elena. I didn't like Elena for the longest time, but now that I think about it, I actually enjoy her very much as a character, and I can't wait to get back into this world. The next one I have for you is one that I don't currently own the third book to as well, but I plan to because I plan on binging this series soon. And that is the Cool Prince trilogy by Holly Black. If you know anything about me, you know this is my favorite trilogy of all time. This is the first book series that had me hooked from beginning to end when I got back into reading back in like 2021. And I have not stopped thinking about it since then. It is one that I have reread and reread and reread and reread. And I'm actually planning on doing a reread very soon here. Um, in this trilogy, you are following Jude Duarte. When she was 7 years old, she watched her parents get brutally murdered in front of her by this Fape person. And so after that, her and her 2 sisters are taken to Fairy. Um, and so 10 years later, Jude wants nothing more to fit in with these Fae. Despite the fact that they despise humans, especially Prince Cardin, the youngest son of the High King. To win a place in court, Jude must defy him and face all the consequences that come along with defying him. And guys, that sounds like she's doing everything for this man, but there is so much more to this story. There is so much political intrigue in this, which I absolutely love. I love when politics are such a high part of a fantasy romance series. Um, and so I love reading these because of the political intrigue in this book. I also really enjoy Jude as a female main character. She is one of my favorite female main characters that I have ever read about in a book. The relationship between Jude and Cardin is not a main part of the series. It is very much dragged throughout this series to the point where they don't even get together in the first book, the second book, until the third. They don't get together until the third book in the series, but it also keeps you dragged into the story. And I love the way Holly Black wrote this series, and it is one that I will continuously recommend and have people read because it's just that much. It is just that good. Y'all see that? Yeah, y'all can. Okay, just making sure. The next book series is another one that I feel like I should not be recommending, but I'm going to include in this first fantasy romance recommendation video on my channel, anyways, just because I feel like it kind of gives you a taste of the type of person I am, and that is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I have started. I started my reread of these early last year, so because I was reading with a friend, but we are going to start back rereading these. We only read the first two in this series, and we were planning on reading the Assassin's Blade. So we're gonna go back and start back at Throne of Glass and start together because she wants to read the series, and I'm so excited to start that with her. I absolutely love the Throne of Glass series. It's a fun, wild ride of a series. I have gone all the way up to Queen of Shadows, and I absolutely love them. The way this world expands later on is so well done. So in the series, you are following Savannah Sardathia, and specifically in the first book, Savannah has been imprisoned in the stock mines of Endeavor. And one day she gets a job, basically, pretty much, or she gets an offer to compete in these games that the king of Arlen is hosting, where he is trying to find Arlen's assassin. And the crown prince comes up to Selena and is like, "Hey, I want you to compete in my steed. I will be your sponsor." And she's like, "Okay, cool." She decides, yes, she'll do it, but for a bargain, she wants her freedom after a few years of serving for Ardalan. And he's like, fine, we can make that happen. So she goes all the way to Ardalan to compete in these games. But when she gets there and these games start, some of them start suddenly ending up dead. And so she has to dive deep into this world of new magic and things like that. And I swear to you, I have never known such pain while reading a series. I have never laughed so much. I've never cried so much. These characters felt like such real characters to me, from Selena to Dorian to Kale to Nehemia. These are like such a broad cast of characters that I absolutely love, and I love the way Sarah J. Maas has written the series. And I can't wait to get caught back up and finish the series out later this year. As one of my big goals this year is to finally finish the Dawn of Class series because I've been putting it off for way too long, and it's just time for me to finish it. So I can't wait to do that with my friend. Like I said, this is one where I feel like I don't need to say much because it's widely talked about all over BookTube, Bookstagram, Book Talk. It's everywhere. Um, so I feel like I don't need to say much about it. The next series that I have for you is one that I only own the physical first. The next series that I have for you is one that I have been thoroughly enjoying. I am going to read book 3 in the month of March for Ramathon. That is the Lady of Darkness series by Melissa K. Rourke. I have read the first and second book in this series, and they have gotten better with each book. I gave this one like a 4.25, and I gave the second one like a 4.75, and the third book is a 5-star prediction for me. In this book, you are following Scarlet Monroe, who is owned by an assassin lord along with her two sisters that have been trained since they were children to torture and take lives. Um, they are the most feared trio on this continent. Everybody knows them, but nobody knows who they actually are. A tragic night has Scarlet finding herself trapped in a royal household until she is ready to fall in line with the assassin lord. That is until she is given a job. If she completes this job, she will find out the name of the Fae Prince who murdered her mother. Um, but when children start going missing, she decides to drop everything related to this Fae Fire Prince to solve this mystery of who is taking these children and why they are taking these children. So with the help of old friends, an ex-lover, and some new allies, she takes on this journey to find these children and so on and so forth. But there are so many secrets that she will stumble upon while she is on this journey of discovering what are happening to these children that lead to a lot more questions and a lot more things that Scarlet had no clue were actually going on. This one, definitely look at the trigger warnings for this is a very dark fantasy romance series, but it's a dark fantasy romance series that I think many people will enjoy. I know that Emmy is currently reading this series because it's being traditionally published in the UK, and she is reading these as they come out. Another person that I know who recommends this is Rachel from Raven Haired Reader. And I know somebody else just finished this, but I can't remember who it is. Mel from Eleanor Reads. Um, all of them convinced me to finally pick this series up, and I don't regret it. I absolutely love it. It is so very well written. You don't get any spice really until like the end, towards the like latter half of this book, and even in book 2, it's not towards the latter half of that book. but it is so well written into the story that it doesn't feel like it's unnecessary. But also Melissa K. Rourke has written the story so well that it is so interconnected that you feel as if these are some real characters. You feel for these characters, and what they are going through. And I love that. I love this series so much. It is dear to me. It is definitely becoming a god tier series for me, along with the Cruel Prince trilogy. And I can't wait to finish it out. This next series I have for you is another darker fantasy romance series that I'm absolutely loving. I'm currently in the middle of book 2, and I just got book 3 in the mail today. And honestly, after this video, I'm probably going to sit down and read a few chapters of it because I'm way too invested in Tasana and Max. And that is the Daughter of No World series, or the War of Lost Hearts trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. If you don't know, this series is actually getting traditionally published starting, I think, in like September, October of this year, and I am super happy that it is finally getting to Disney Plus because I love this so very much. Children of Fallen God is looking up to be a 5-star read for me, and I am so excited to finish it out. But in this series, you are following Tasana, who has lived a life of slavery, which has taught her nothing, which has taught her how to survive with nothing but a sharp eye, a quick mind, and a touch of magic. But the night she tries to buy her freedom, she nearly pays with her life. So instead, she nearly pays with her life and ends up murdering the most powerful male in this land. So she ends up fleeing to the Orders, um, which is an organization of magic wielders. Um, to earn her place, Tasana is given up an apprenticeship under Maxantris Fairloin. I think that's how you say his full name. I call him Max because I refuse to say Maxantris, which is crazy. Um, he is a fire welder who is pretty much veered off from the orders themselves. Um, Under looming war, Tasana must master her magic and survive the orders. Um, guys, guys, this book series, like, yeah, there's some thick books. I can't lie to you. Like, these are some thick babies. They were so good. Tasana, Carissa Broadbent has written a well-crafted story, that I will continue to recommend. This is another series that's like coming up there to becoming a god tier series for me because I absolutely love Tasana and her story and the way the character growth for her, strictly from the beginning of book 1 to the end of book 1, is so strong, and I love that for her. And then we're getting to see a bit more of Max's character growth in book 2, and I love that for him. Um, this is a series that I will continue to recommend from now on because I do not know how to talk about a series that I love. And this is one where Carissa has created a story so very powerful that no matter what, you can take a stance and become something very powerful no matter what. And I love those type of stories. And I love the way Carissa Broadbent has written this story in particular. And I can't wait to finish book 2 and go into book 3 and finish that and this become my favorite series of all time. The next book series I have for you was one that I do not recommend very lightly because these are some chunky books, and these books would definitely not be for everyone. But there are a couple of people that I watch who have read these and absolutely love them, and I love them with my dear heart. Um, but these are some chunky books, and that is the Blood Crate series by Vila Roth. These are just the first 3 books, and book 3 is actually split into 2 parts, and I don't even have that part, but what I said, chunky boys. In this series, you are following Cassia, who is the bastard daughter of the king. She sees a Hesperian who could end her life, but she is not afraid of him or his fangs or his magic. She knows that the real villain in this story is her father. Um, and if he finds out that she is seen out of her Hesperian, um, it could cost her her life. As a Hesperian diplomat, Leo is supposed to negotiate with the humans who absolutely despise him. But Cassia is different, and politics aren't why she captivates him in the first place. Um, he wants more than just her blood, and if he can't resist the temptation, he might bring on a war for him and his people. But the relationship that Leo and Cassia built, this is definitely a, how do I say this? Supposed to be enemies to friends to lovers story, and I absolutely love that. In this world, Hesperians are basically vampires. And every so often they're supposed to come together with the humans to discuss like treaties. This is the first one that's happened in so many years. And so like I said, Cassia seeks out Leo. The story that Vila Roth has been in this is so wide and expansive, and I feel like I've just touched the surface of it all, even though I've read these first three books here. Like I said, I feel like it's just touched the surface of everything that could possibly happen in this series. Another like 8 books out, I believe, but I need to get to them because I'm absolutely invested in wherever this story is gonna go in the future. Cassia, absolutely love her. I have loved her from like page one. This girl knows how to get secrets out of people, and I love that. She also knows how to spy. She is willing to do whatever it takes to take down her father, and I love that for her. Leo is also so down bad for Cassia that he's willing to do whatever it takes to have her, no matter if it costs him his life. Like he's like, yeah, she's mine. I love her. I don't care. Fight me. And I love that. This is another one that's becoming a god tier series for me because it is just that amazing. Like I absolutely love it, and I don't see where it could go wrong. And I'm gonna hate myself for saying that, but I don't know. The next duology that I have for you here is one that I feel like I have mentioned previously on my channel. I don't know if I have or not, but I'm gonna mention it here because I need to actually do my reread of book 2 here soon. And that is the Divine Rivals duology by Rebecca Ross. I was trying to remember the name of the duology. Letters of Enchantment duology by Rebecca Ross. Oh my goodness. Um, so you have Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. These are some of my favorite. This is like god tier, like 6-star duology for me because I absolutely love it so much. I hold it very close to my heart when I like talk about it, when I think about it, because it just gives me life. In this book, you are following Iris Winnow, who is pretty much has become the sole provider of her family because her brother has been gone off to war. And she's also working at this newspaper where she is where she is trying to become a columnist alongside Roman kids. In her free time, Iris is writing letters to her brother, which she sends to her wardrobe and they magically disappear. And this whole time, she's been thinking that they've been going to her brother, but they have in fact been going to Roman, which we find out pretty soon into the book. They've been going to Roman, and Roman knows that he who was writing these letters, but Iris does not know that it is not her brother getting these letters until one day Roman decides to write back to her, but without telling her who she is. And so these two take on to exchanging letters secretly, and it is one of the best rivals to lovers stories because like I said, Iris and Roman are competing to become columnists at the same newspaper, and only one of them will make it. So they do have a rivalry. We're also sending these letters back and forth and falling for each other, and it is so good. It is so good. This book didn't make me cry, but Ruthless Vows definitely did. I definitely enjoyed Divine Rivals a lot more than I enjoyed Ruthless Vows, but these are both 5-star reads for me and I just absolutely love the way Rebecca Ross wrote this. Her writing is so good. There's another book in this series. There's another book that is coming out later this year that is going to take place in the same exact world, and I have pre-ordered it. I sure have because I'm a sucker for stuff like that. But going back to this one, Roman and Iris, their love story, so well written. I love Rebecca Ross's writing. I love the story that she has interwoven into this. The way I present this to people is if you read a lot of romance and but you don't read fantasy, this is a good introduction to fantasy as a genre because as the romance is just as important as the fantasy plotline. So you're getting all these fantastical elements while also getting this romance plotline that is just as important. And I love that. I love the way it was interwoven into the story and the way it related back into the story. And it is just so perfect. I have no thoughts. I have no bad things to say about this, and I refuse, and I mean refuse, to hear any criticism about the series. And last but not least is one of my favorite series of all time. It is like my second favorite series right under the Cruel Prince trilogy, and that is the Legendborn cycle by Tracy Deonn, which includes Legendborn and Bloodmark, and Oathbound is coming out in just like 2 weeks, maybe. And I have two versions of it pre-ordered, and I'm so excited to dive into this book head first. In this book series, you are following Brie Matthews, who is going to this college program now after the death of her mother. When she gets to this program, she is out one night when she sees something that she relates back to her mother's death. So decides to kind of follow along with that to see if what she saw is related to the fact how her mother died. Um, which leads her to the Legendborn, which is a group of people who take after the legend of King Arthur and the 12 Knights of the Round Table. And she is thrown headfirst into the society of white people as she tackles it as a black person trying to come into it. And so much more is at play than she really realized, more than just it relating back to the death of her mother. And guys, these books are so well written. Oathbound is looking up to be a 5-star prediction for me just for the fact that I have this one and I gave this one a 5 star. Tracy Deonn has become an author for me with just this series, because this is her first series that she's ever written. But I'm so excited for Oathbound. I am excited for wherever this series goes. I love Brie. She's such a relatable character, not only because she is black, but because she is struggling as a black in this world. Um, And so I love her as a character, to see her struggle and go through these things that us black people would go through every day. I will continuously recommend this. I also love the representation in this with black people and just so many other things. And the way that she tackled the story of Arthur and the 12 Knights of the Round Table is so different from how most people do, but I love it. I love Arthurian legend. If you know anything about me, that's one thing I do love. And to see it tackled the way that Trisha Dion tackled this is so amazing to see, and I absolutely love this series. I don't talk about it. I really don't. I think about it all the time. It's so bad because I'll be doing something and I'll be like, oh, I wonder if Brie would like this. And I'm like, she's not real. She's not a real character. I also really love Nick and Sel in this story. I also love Brie's best friend Alice. She's a baddie. She's a baddie no matter what. Um, these books, read them if you haven't. I try to shove these down everybody's throats because I love it so much. And if you haven't read it, what are you doing? You're crazy. And with that, that is a 9 book series that I have talked to you about. I'm gonna try and make these pretty frequently. I know Rachel from Riverhead Reader tries to do these. She actually recently posted one of these, and I'm kind of thinking after her because I love fantasy romance. I get most of my fantasy romance recommendations from her, but there are still some series that I have read that she hasn't read, or series that she's read and I haven't read. So you're gonna see some variation. Um, but fantasy romance is a genre that I mostly read. I mean, dark romance is the second one soon after that. So I just want to talk about some of my favorite series that I am currently reading and I'm in the middle of. Just to kind of give you some series to maybe go read if you haven't already read them, or to give you my opinion on some popular series. Um, so that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. That's up to you. I think I'll put these books away. I hate one of my least favorite things is putting books away after filming something, and I'm gonna hate this. But I digress. Um, have a great day, evening, night, morning, afternoon, and whatever awards you are having it in. That's so good. And I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.